A large city was living in fear as an S-rank giant wolf threatened their safety. In desperation, the city called upon the Dragon Fang team to eliminate the beast. As the team waited for its arrival, the wolf suddenly attacked from behind, knocking K away. Reacting quickly, Nav, the team leader, ordered Bandana to bind the wolf with a rope. She managed to tie it up, but the wolf's immense strength allowed it to break free, almost instantly. As it pulled on the rope, Bandana was violently slammed into a wall, leaving her injured. Marvelous quickly cast a healing spell on her, allowing her to continue fighting. Determined, Bandana attacked again, this time successfully restraining the wolf. Seeing the opportunity, Nav ignited his sword and delivered a devastating strike, finally slaying the beast. The city erupted in celebration, relieved that their nightmare had ended. After their mission, the Dragon Fang team returned home for a meal. As they ate, Goov threw his food to the ground in frustration. "No one in this village makes decent food," he complained before turning to Kor and demanding, "Make me something fresh." Kor agreed, but Bandana made an ominous remark. "This will be the last time we taste Kor's cooking." Confused, Kor asked what she meant. Nav coldly revealed the truth. Kor was being expelled from the team. Shocked, Kor insisted that he hadn't done anything wrong, but Nav scoffed. "That's exactly the problem. You haven't done anything at all. You can't even defeat a weak monster." Marvelous explained that their team needed to recruit a magician with special abilities, and since every team was limited to 4 members, someone had to go. Bandana added bluntly, "You're a burden." Desperate, Kor begged to stay, but Nav kicked him down and cast him out without mercy. With nowhere to go, Kor left the city and traveled to H-Work in search of employment. Upon entering, he was greeted by an employee who asked if he was looking for work or hiring someone. Kor replied, "I'm looking for a job." The employee asked for his name and age. "I'm Kor, 15 years old," he answered. Curious about his background, the employee asked if he had prior work experience. Kor admitted, "I was part of the Dragon Fang team, but I only did small tasks, and then they expelled me." Surprised, the employee asked, "You were in Dragon Fang, the recently promoted team?" Kor nodded sadly. The employee reassured him, "This actually makes your file look good. Having worked with them will impress people." Next, Kor was tested for hidden talents. The ranking system ranged from A, able to split a stone in half, to G, completely unskilled. Unfortunately, Kor scored a G in everything, proving he was unqualified for adventuring work. This devastated him. Noticing his disappointment, the employee tried to encourage him. "There are other jobs, trading, chemistry, blacksmithing, but these tests take a week." Kor hesitated. "I don't have any money to wait that long." Understanding his situation, the employee asked him to lift a nearby bag of sand. Though drained of mana, Kor managed to lift it with difficulty. The employee smiled. "Not bad. You might be fit for construction work." Relieved to have found an opportunity, Kor agreed. The employee arranged for his first job. At the construction site, Kor met his employer, who assigned him a simple task: making concrete and fixing the fence. He warned Kor that he would return in 3 hours and expected quality work. But when the employer returned, he was stunned. Kor had already repaired most of the walls in a ridiculously short time. "How did you do this?" the employer asked in disbelief. Kor, apologetic, explained, "I ran out of concrete before finishing the rest." The employer, still in shock, questioned how Kor had even reached the upper parts of the wall. "I gathered the concrete and directed it with this stick," Kor answered casually. The employer's expression shifted from amazement to frustration. "Wait, what? That shouldn't be possible." Realizing Kor's abilities were far beyond what was normal, the employer fired him on the spot. "You're working too fast," he explained. "If you keep this up, you'll take away work from the other laborers. Your rank could be SS. You should be working in the kingdom, not here." Despite having only worked for 3 days, Kor was paid generously before being let go. The employer scolded Kor, telling him that he worked too fast, leaving no jobs for the other laborers. "You'll finish all the work alone, leaving nothing for the poor workers who rely on this job," he said. "Your skills are beyond this place. With your speed, you should be working in the kingdom, not here." He handed Kor the rest of his salary, effectively dismissing him. Kor, in shock, thought to himself that his boss had paid him off just to get rid of him. Kor returned to H-Work, where the employee told him, "This job didn't work out for you, but what are we going to do now? You still have 3 days left before the other job tests." Just then, a woman burst into the office, shouting that she was looking for a worker. The employee approached her, asking what she needed. She explained that she required a worker for a mining job, but warned that if nothing valuable was found in the mine, they wouldn't be paid. The employee protested, saying that workers should be compensated for their labor regardless of the outcome. Kor stepped forward, expressing his interest in the job. "I've worked in mines before back in my village," he said. The employee reminded him that payment was uncertain, but Kor was willing to take the risk. The woman examined him and hesitated. "I need a muscular, slightly short worker, not a young guy like you," she remarked. The employee responded, "You'll have to pay 10 silver coins if you want to hire him." The woman agreed, settling for Kor and asking him to follow her. As Kor left, the employee handed Kersha a workload related to him. Kira, upon looking at it, was so shocked by the amount of money that she collapsed to the ground. Another employee rushed over to check on her. When Kyril noticed a stack of heavy bags, she asked, "Who put those sandbags here?" The employee explained, "These aren't regular sandbags. They're used to measure mana levels. They become heavier as a person's mana increases, and they're impossible for ordinary people to lift. Only someone with strength, like a royal court magician, can handle them." To everyone's surprise, Kira effortlessly lifted one. As she did, she thought about Kor and murmured, "Who exactly are you, Kor, to have such strength?" Meanwhile, Kor followed the woman, whose name was Yisha, to the mining site. When they arrived, Kor looked around in confusion. "There's nothing here but a tent," he said. Yisha nodded. "It's big enough for 2 people. Kor smirked. "I can't sleep next to a beautiful woman like you." Yisha's face turned red with anger. "Don't say such weird things," she snapped. She handed him food, and as he ate, he smiled. "No one has cooked for me in a long time." That night, Kor couldn't sleep inside the tent and chose to rest outside. The next morning, Yisha woke up to find her coat neatly repaired. She turned to Kor in surprise. "Did you do this?" "Yes," he replied simply. "When you're ready, let me know." "We need to start working," Yisha said. "We need 10 gold coins by the end of the week." Kor nodded. "Okay, but where are we supposed to dig?" Yisha hesitated. "I don't know exactly. We'll just dig nearby." Kor shook his head. "That's not how mining works. If we dig randomly, we won't find anything." He asked Yisha to follow him, trusting his own experience. After searching for a better spot, Kor began digging and soon unearthed a round stone. He examined it closely before splitting it open, revealing blue gemstones inside. "This is what we're looking for," he said. "These stones can sell for 3 gold coins each." Yisha's eyes widened. "That's already a third of what we need." Kor continued mining, collecting a large number of blue stones. When he was done, Yisha asked, "So, should we sell them now?" "No, we can't do that yet," Kor replied. She frowned. "Why not? You found them by yourself." "It's not about that," Kor explained. "We need to turn them into crystals first." Yisha was stunned. "There are only 10 blacksmiths in the kingdom who can refine these into crystals." Without hesitation, Kor transformed the stones into crystals with incredible speed, leaving Yisha in shock. "I thought each one took an hour to make." Kor shook his head. "I don't have that much mana. I can't do it indefinitely." Afterward, Yisha packed her belongings and asked, "Are you sure you're staying here?" "I have a lot to do," Kor responded. "Then I'll come back tomorrow morning after I sell the crystals," Yisha said before leaving. At the guild, Yisha attempted to sell the crystals. A guard asked for documentation proving they were from abroad. When she admitted they were local, he assumed they were made in a workshop. However, when Yisha revealed a necklace, the guard stiffened in fear. You work with the king?" She ignored his reaction and used a teleportation stone to transport herself to the kingdom, where she sought out a buyer. Initially, the merchant told her the crystal was only worth 10 silver coins. But after a closer inspection, the merchant suddenly changed her tune. "Wait, I'll buy it for 10 gold coins." Yisha was baffled. "How is that possible?" The merchant explained, "This crystal contains an immense amount of mana and prevents mana leakage. It's extremely valuable." Yisha then revealed she had 49 more. The merchant's eyes widened. "That's 500 gold coins." However, before finalizing the purchase, the merchant made 2 requests. First, do not sell these crystals to anyone else. Our kingdom strictly controls their trade, and no one will appreciate their true power like we do. Second, tell me, who made these? Yisha hesitated. "I can't tell you." The merchant frowned. "Why not? Whoever crafted these crystals should be serving the kingdom. Are you trying to monopolize them for profit?" "It's not about that," Yisha insisted. "I just can't reveal his identity without his permission." The merchant sighed. "This concerns me because I am a royal court sorceress. A crystal maker like this must be secured for the kingdom's benefit." Yisha crossed her arms. "I don't work for the kingdom anymore. I'm not obligated to follow your orders." The merchant smirked. Yet you have no issue benefiting from your former rank, I see. Let's talk as friends then. Keep the crystal maker away from any city other than ours. Also, inform him that we might offer him a position as the Royal Magic Laboratory Manager. If the kingdom approves, he could even become an honorary count. After receiving payment, Yisha left the guild. She now had 500 gold coins and an offer to make Kor the head of the laboratory. She returned to hall work, where she met Kersha. Both of them had questions for each other. Yisha asked first, "Who is Kor?" Kersha refused to answer. "I can't reveal client secrets." Yisha pulled out the royal necklace and accessed Kor's file. "He was a member of the dragon team," she muttered. Kira added, "He worked in construction, but only for 3 days. However, his pay was unusually high." This intrigued Yisha. Then Kersha dropped another bombshell. "He repaired all the walls by himself and in a ridiculously short time." Yisha nodded. No wonder they fired him. Finally, she instructed Kira to deposit Kor's payment into his account and warned, "Do not share any information about him with anyone." Returning to Kor, Yisha was stunned to find a newly built house. "What is this?" she asked in disbelief. Kor replied casually, "I built it while you were away." Yisha was speechless. "You built a complete house in one night?" Kor simply shrugged. "People used to do this all the time. I don't think it's a big deal." The Dragon Fang team had ventured into the forest on an adventure, but things quickly turned dire when they encountered a massive monster. During the fight, Golov was struck in the head and injured. He cried out to Marvelous, asking her to heal him quickly. She struggled, replying, "I'm trying, but my power isn't what it used to be." As the monster attacked again, Golov barely managed to block its strike. Amid the chaos, the new adventurer in the group asked Golov, "Can you use fire? You told me you could." Bandana, watching the situation unfold, muttered to herself, "I think this party is already done for." Meanwhile, in another part of the world, we moved to Crow's home where he was with Ulia. Crow was stunned to learn that they wanted to appoint him as the manager of the Royal Research Lab and offer him a noble title. Ulia confirmed it was true. Crow asked her how it had come to this, and she explained that the person she had asked to appraise the crystals turned out to be a royal court magician, doing the role more or less as a hobby. Crow was skeptical and asked, "Are you sure about this? Could your friend be tricking you?" Ulia admitted it sounded hard to believe, but asked, "What do you think?" Crow sighed and told her to decline the offer, despite knowing how good it sounded. Deep down, he thought to himself that he couldn't accept a position that would place him above others. Part of him also longed to return to the Dragon Fang team, though he told Ulia that his only focus now was on his current work. Ulia was shocked by his decision. Crow then asked her if selling the crystals had helped pay off her debts. She confirmed that it had, saying she'd sold them at a fair price. She had taken a single gold coin as a broker fee and deposited the rest in his account. Crow told her not to worry about him, but Ulia insisted, knowing she couldn't have kept the money without guilt overwhelming her. She then encouraged him to keep mining, to which Crow replied he had already found a good mineral vein the day before. Ulia was impressed and noted that he hadn't even taken a break. Crow admitted he had rested for only 6 hours, prompting her to recall that he'd also built the house and chopped firewood. Crow, thinking back on his time with the Dragon Fang team, remembered he used to get just 4 hours of sleep. As the one in charge of daily tasks, he was always the last to sleep and the first to rise. He even apologized to Ulia for sleeping too much now. They walked together to the new mining site. Ulia asked if he was sure about the location, as she hadn't noticed anything unusual. Crow pointed to the shape of the mountain terrain and explained that there were deposits underneath, warning not to dig deeper than 50 meters. He then told her he would be digging elsewhere, the site where they'd found crystals the previous day. Ulia let him go. She ended up finding a gemstone called topaz and noted it could fetch 3 gold coins. She thought about asking Crow to convert it into a magic crystal for free, realizing that would fulfill her financial goal. But then she scolded herself, saying she shouldn't take advantage of him again. Wondering what Crow might be doing, she guessed from experience that he was probably building a tunnel. When she arrived, she was stunned by the tunnel's sheer size. "I didn't think it would be this big," she said in awe. Crow emerged and said he was just on his way to find her. Ulia asked if he'd found anything of value, and he replied that he'd only discovered some worthless ore fragments, which he stored in a box. She examined the stones and found them strangely beautiful. Crow told her the ore was called mithyl and said he could extract a lot of it. Ulia was astonished and asked if he knew what it was. In his village, Crow explained they considered it useless and just threw it away. Ulia was stunned. Mithyl was worth more than gold or platinum, and yet he was discarding it. Crow asked, "So it's important. Is it hard to get in your city?" Ulya then asked what ore he was really searching for, and Crow answered, "Oral." She was surprised, saying she didn't believe that ore could even be found in these mountains. Crow insisted it could be found anywhere if you dig deep enough, about 7 kilometers down. Shocked, Ulya asked if he had really dug that far already. He confirmed it, and she said, "Just as I suspected." Then she asked about the shaft. Crow casually explained he had already filled it back in because it was too dangerous to leave open. "You filled in a 7-kilometer shaft in just 8 hours. Ulya said, stunned again, "Nothing can surprise me anymore." She looked to the end of the tunnel and noted that Crow had dug directly toward the mountain. She realized the tunnel could be extremely useful. When Crow asked if he should fill it in, Ulya told him not to. It would be better left open. Later, they traveled to Samila City. Crow mentioned that the tunnel he dug would connect Samila City to Prince Tian City. Ulya, seeing an opportunity, allowed merchants to use the tunnel for a small maintenance fee, calculating that it would be enough to cover her taxes. Just then, Bandana arrived and greeted Crow. He was surprised to see her and asked if Golov was with her. She shook her head and said she was no longer part of the Dragon Fang team, that too much had happened. She mentioned that Golov had destroyed a restaurant where they were eating. Curious, she had gone to ask him how the food was in such a modest place. Golov, clearly annoyed, barked that they still had smoked meat that Crow had prepared, so she should go fetch it instead. Bandana explained to Golov that there was no smoked meat left because he had eaten it all. In response, Golov raised his sword and ordered her to fetch Crow to make more. If Crow refused, Golov demanded that Bandana force him to cooperate. Bandana agreed and took his teleportation crystal, promising to handle it herself. On her way, she noticed some guards and figured Golov might get arrested for his recent actions. She also mentioned that Marvelous was probably fortunate to have been summoned by the church, and in her view, the Dragon Fang team was as good as finished. Since she had been kicked out, she didn't want Crow, her current target of observation, getting dragged into any of their mess. When Bandana told Crow she had been expelled from the team, he was shocked. He also said he had no plans to return to Dragon Fang. When she asked why he was so hung up on that team, Crow explained that he respected Golov and felt indebted to him. She then asked if he was currently seeking work, and Crow confirmed he was headed toward a new job. Bandana told him about a struggling artisan workshop that needed help. She said only about 15 artisans held official state licenses, and they needed assistance. Crow doubted his usefulness, but Bandana reassured him that she trusted him, and he should too. He agreed to help and took a map from her before rushing off. Bandana quietly noted how hard it was to become a sage in training. Crow soon arrived at the workshop, which specialized in magical swords. It was led by a licensed master craftsman who was authorized to both develop and distribute them. When he knocked on the door, a girl answered, an elf named Michelle. She introduced herself as the master's assistant and was happy to see help had finally arrived. She brought Crow inside and asked him to clean the kitchen, which she wasn't good at. Then she went to assist the master. Crow changed clothes and thoroughly cleaned the kitchen. Unsure of what to do next, he followed the path Michelle had taken and ended up in a room where he found a girl afflicted by a terrible curse. After examining her, Crow concluded that the curse had engulfed her entire body and said he would prepare food to help her regain strength. Back in the kitchen, Crow made porridge, but the lingering thoughts of the curse made him collapse from mental strain. Meanwhile, Alicia was negotiating the sale of the rare ore Myethil with Mimiko. Mimiko estimated its value at 50,000 gold coins. Alicia wondered what would happen if news about the ore and Crow spread. Mimiko warned that Crow would either be kidnapped or assassinated, shocked at how someone so powerful had managed to stay hidden. Alicia revealed that Crow had been kicked out of Dragon Fang. Mimiko speculated that their leader was likely a wanted man. When asked what Alicia planned for Crow, she said she wanted to help him become a licensed master craftsman and give him a stable purpose. Her plan was to eventually have him hire her as his bodyguard, though she admitted convincing him would be hard since he constantly undervalued himself. Back at the workshop, Crow had just finished cooking. Michelle and Oilia, the actual master craftsman, walked in. Crow apologized for using the kitchen, but Oilia said it was fine and asked what he had made. He explained it was porridge for the cursed girl. Oilia was surprised he had met her and warned him not to talk about her to anyone. He promised to keep the secret. Oilia thanked him for the day's work. paid him and asked him to return the next day. Crow agreed. After he left, Oilia couldn't believe she had allowed the cursed girl to interact with a stranger. Though she only did it to slow the curse's progress, she knew she had to stay cautious. In the girl's room, Oilia reminded her to keep the curtains closed and offered to fix her clothes. She wanted to test the porridge for safety, but the girl said she trusted the man who made it. The girl revealed that she had spent her life suspicious of everyone, but today she wanted to believe someone. Oilia let her try the food. Suddenly, the girl collapsed in pain. Oilia panicked and reached for an antidote, but the girl stopped her, saying she felt fine. Miraculously, the curse had vanished. Oilia was stunned. Strong curses like this normally took a long time to dissipate. Elsewhere, two people who had cast the curse on the girl, revealed to be Princess Liza, were planning to place another curse on her. One soldier apologized to his superior and promised to carry it out. Back at the workshop, Oilia and Liza went to see Mimiko and Alicia. Oilia introduced herself and explained the gravity of the situation. Liza was the daughter of the king and Princess Frano of the North, making her a symbol of peace between the two lands. Someone had cursed her to reignite conflict between their nations. Alicia realized the curse was politically motivated, and Mimiko embraced the princess, grateful she was safe. Liza confirmed that she had come to find out who had cursed her. Mimiko pledged her full service and asked how the curse had been broken. When Liza said it was thanks to a man named Crow, both Mimiko and Alicia were stunned.